galactic civil war spreads across the sun. From the heights of Coruscant to fiery Mustafar, to fight the evil empire, for people join the fray. These are the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast, and we're playing in Edge Studios' Age of Rebellion. This is Session 0, Episode 1 of The Hard Road. I'm Ben. I am the GM for this adventure, and I'm using they-them pronouns.
Hi, my name is Joy. I use she, her, and I'm playing Keeter Javrik, a sharpshooter.
Hi, my name is Erica Goodwitch. I go by she, her, and I am playing Norin Grimian. They go by they, them, and they are an engineer scientist.
Hi, I'm Zach. I go by they, them. I'm playing Shin Shazin. He goes by he, him. It's infiltrator, interrogator.
Hi, my name is Henry Malinali. I use she, they pronouns. I'll be playing Isazel An. She uses she, her pronouns, and she's the pilot and the ship captain.
This being a Session 0, we've just had somewhat basic introductions. Each of our wonderful players are going to be doing a individual episode to introduce you to them, which you'll be listening to after the Session Zeros have come out in preparation for our first full episode. I'm going to have us go to the setting and see about fleshing it out from the initial pitch. And the initial pitch is the four of your characters working for a organization called Intersector Rescue, which is pretty much what it says on the tin, and anyone getting Thunderbirds vibes, well, that's not accidental. The basic idea is there is a benefactor who is bankrolling this for doing mercy missions in the time of the Empire. The Empire doesn't really care about most of the things going on, especially you have mine disasters, agricultural disasters, other forms of natural disasters, and the Empire just doesn't really care. You either make your quotas or you don't. It's the Empire. It's kind of what they do. They also do that whole military thing. With this, you get your four player characters as the head of their own little cell of this Intersector Rescue that will help the people they're suffering from an asteroid impact is about to happen. What can the four of you do? I'm figuring that you're going to have a larger ship, so there probably is going to be a crew to it, and it's not just the four of you running around on your Millennium Falcon analog. Saying that, is there any that the four of you, it's sort of sparking in your mind for this setting?
I think one of the big things that calls to from the setting you've given us and the notes we've seen and the idea of it was a bit of it is mentioned as that Charlie's Angels feel of we have that mysterious benefactor that we don't know who they are and we have to just believe they want to do the right thing. And the question of are they doing it because they believe or because of something else is like I love having that idea always in the back of our heads.
Yeah, it also gives rise to not only are they good or not, but how well do we trust them? And they're paying for our stuff, so are we really bought? Or are we doing this because we seriously believe that this is the right way? We feel maybe this is, well, my character, she really wants to see justice done to the Imperials, so she will think maybe this person is on her side and wants the same thing, and there's a lot of means to the same end.
For Norin, the fact that this is a job that is fulfilling and actually helps people is a bonus. They earned their degrees and everything because they wanted to help people, but they also need to be paid. So having the mysterious benefactor that is there to pay for what they need and to pay a salary as well is important.
Right, salary.
Got a family back home to send money to.
Yes.
I don't think Shin has a problem working for like a shadowy type. They are a spy, so they're used to not knowing who their employer is directly. As long as they agree with the mission statement and they get orders and they get paid, they're pretty okay with whatever.
I really am taking from like Charlie's Angels, which I'll admit I've only seen movies. I haven't seen the original show. But also Mission Impossible, that one I did see the original show, where you're never really sure who's actually running everything. Considering how the rebellion is working in even the lead up to Return of the Jedi, no one really knows how the rebellion higher ups are running. And it seems like you've got little fiefdoms almost. Like you've got Bail running his rebellion, you've got Mon running her rebellion, you've got Luthen running his, and they're all different groups. Saw running his weirdos. All of them being barely talking to each other. Is this rebel connected? Kinda, but it's also having Intersector Rescue being a more humanitarian, for lack of a better term, organization does allow for people to be going into more dicey situations that would also attract rebel recruiters or, say, delivering certain rebellious supplies as well. The other nice part, which we're going to have to come up with a regular payment schedule, thinking like 300 credits per session, same time when we're giving out duty, as everyone chuckles.
Only because you said it now.
It's a mechanic. It's my preferred mechanic. I like obligation enough, but duty is the one that, at least for the settings that I use, it seems to work better. Yeah, having that being a regular, because a pay stub would be a regular, like going into your bank account, as regular employment usually does. I'm figuring that the people who are on one of these ships would be essentially salaried, so it makes sense. The other part is, for all the big parts of a deployment, okay, you're going out to help out a mining base that's had a chemical accident. Well, that's going to have a certain specific set of tools, probably a bit of a hospital going, as well as other things. One of the thoughts I had is there's a particular type of ship that is very conducive to this, where you can switch between, okay, I've got a hospital pod, I've got a search and rescue pod, I've got a engineering pod, which is the Wayfarer transport. When taking a look at the Thunderbirds vibes, you've got Thunderbird 2 with the different mission pods, and the Wayfarer does give me a bit of a Thunderbird 2 vibe to it, where you've got the ship itself, where everyone stays, and you've got the pilot and captain and all that. And then you've got a cargo pod that it just carries. And that cargo pod can be swapped out.
It's perfect.
The idea is there's the place where like the crew quarters are. Then there's a pod that can be attached that allows for pretty much anything that would be needed. Like, okay, we're going to be doing a ship rescue. Okay, well, this can have like bolt-on engines or something in there. And it can be mission specific that's prepped by a mysterious prep agency.
We just pick up a pod whenever like that's how we start our missions, is collecting a pod.
That's kind of my thought with it, that at the start of a mission, it would be, okay, you're getting pod Auric, because I'm silly and like doing the Aurebish for each of my letterings, that you'd get this pod and it would be loaded up with pretty much anything that you would need. Like super specialized stuff, you still might have to flip a destiny point, but for basic stuff that you should have, if someone's sending you into one of these situations, you should have, say, a couple medical beds or a Bacta tank set up. Okay, well, it's going to be in this pod that you've picked up. This way, there's a lot less needing to guess which mission type you're going to be going on next. You also have the ability to get much higher level equipment instead of having to worry about character finances that way. You're part of a large organization. There should be some advantage to being part of this large organization beyond just getting paid. They're sending you into these different dangerous situations, so having the equipment for them does make sense.
I signed up for the vacation pay.
It makes complete sense why Izazel is going to be here, just because she's a freighter pilot before anything else. So when it talks to the specialization, she's very specialized in picking up containers and taking them places. She's born for this.
Expanding from the different pod loadouts with a ship, my idea for at least the first act is this is essentially going to be disaster response, where one could be an asteroid is heading towards a mining outpost. The people protecting it have decided to vacate, and they have not decided to take everyone with them. So how can Intersector Rescue help divert the asteroid? Or it's going back to a lot of the 1970s disaster movie types, where in some cases the disaster's happening, Intersector Rescue's rolling up and helping try and tamp it down. There's a raging fire in one, or there's a chemical spill that then will turn into a fire if things are not managed properly. Dark side points happen and things aren't handled quite properly. At least to start off with, some of it's going to be figuring out the NPCs that are in the background and fleshing them out, because a ship the size of a Wayfarer it's bigger than what can normally be handled by just 4 people. There could be a engineer, a loadmaster, or any other sorts that the 4 of you figure that you would need as recurring NPCs, which I do like the idea of having recurring NPCs, allowing us to get a broader galaxy.
Makes sense.
We always need friends.
Like with Intersector Rescue, there would be a couple that would be more, I want to say, administrative, like a dockyard commander that would be when the ship is beat up, essentially at the end of a small arc, handing the ship over to them to get fixed up because the ship itself has been bounced around a bit. In the first act, I'm absolutely wanting to get a decent stable of NPCs that are showing up. Some that are on the ship that you can enlist their help with during particular adventures, but also some that come around rarely and either can be antagonistic or more of the sort that you're wanting to enlist their help of.
Do we have an R&D weapons team like Q? Totally not necessary. I was just curious.
At least for the first bit, I'm figuring that generally weapons are not going to be needed because this is going to be mostly disaster recovery.
Well, I think it was more like gadgets. But
okay, gadgets, yeah, I can definitely see a gadget maker being a NPC that would be around.
Sweet.
All right, most important, do we have a chef? Because I don't want to cook.
I'm sorry, sharpshooters make the best cooks. You have to.
We can definitely go with a chef. I'm somewhat thinking that would be rolled into there'd be a chef and something else. But yeah, I can definitely go with a chef.
Be the galley/quartermaster.
Yeah.
You literally have to go through this person for everything.
All right, that I can go with.
Now, is one of you guys like a mechanic?
I can do mechanic things. Like the gadget thing that was mentioned earlier is like, I can do that.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking like we probably might want to have a mechanic in case something happens to the ship while we're gone. They can be fixing it while we're doing our job. You know what I mean? Like if it takes a long time to have an extra mechanic on board. That's just my thought.
If it has to do with the ship, I could take
Norn can do many things.
Norn and Isacel are going to be able to take care of the ship at least.
Nice.
I feel like Norn and Isacel are good parallels to each other because you said Isacel is born for this as like a freight pilot, and Norn feels a little adrift. They thought their life was going to be in a lab, and it's not in a lab.
Aw.
That's fine. That's part of the fun.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Norn has ranks in computers, mechanics, medicine, piloting, astrogation,
Wow, really well rounded.
and then a lot of knowledge skills.
I can do medicine and melee. I can lie to people.
I'm good at like skullduggery, stealth, survival.
Yeah, I got stealth, survival.
Don't ask Norn to talk to people.
Stealth is my greatest.
Okay, that does bring up one question, which is any of your characters that good at talking to people?
I don't think so.
The ship captain is.
I have okay deception. Let me see.
I have no ranks in any social skills.
I just the most I have is 3 green in deception. The rest are all 2 greens.
I have a
Nothing
single
else.
green die in negotiation.
So I got a bit of charm, a bit of coercion, and a good amount of leadership. If there's one thing I'm good
Nice.
at, well, 2 things I'm good at. First, making the ship purr and fly well. Second, telling people to do their job correctly.
I'm good at perception and I'm good at my ranged shooting rifle.
Definitely work at coming up with ways of applying that.
Oh, I have ideals.
I feel like there's just maybe one workspace on the ship where you can go to Norn for like, hey, can you tinker with this for me and see if you can like make it work better, or like I need to know something about this planet, or I need
Oh,
'Cause-
perfect.
yeah, Norn has talents.
Operations.
Let's see. Norn has in the scientist tree researcher, inventor, tinkerer,
Oh,
knowledge specialization,
Wow.
and I can also speak binary.
Nice. I
Mm.
I have knowledge skills in warfare.
I do want a droid. We need a droid. Another
yeah.
droid.
Another droid? Do you have one droid?
No, for some reason I was like, wait, one of us is a droid? No, one of us is not a droid.
oh no, not this time.
We have a... Okay, Zach, you say this species name because I'm horrible at it.
Shistavanen.
Okay.
That's how I've always pronounced it, at least.
Yeah, I had like 3 syllables onto that. The rest of you say we've got a human.
I'm boring, I'm human.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to the club. Club Human. Except
Woo!
I'm a Canary human, so I found my way here
Nice.
later.
I'm human analog. But no, I'm a Mary Ellen.
So, yeah, this is the most humans I've had on a group in a long time. So, yay, this will be fun. Okay, so for a droid, what kind of droid do we want? Big sort of load lifter, or astromech kind, a maintenance kind?
We could have a couple of them.
I mean, true.
So yeah, we should definitely have like a muscle kind of droid that does like load lifting and things like that.
Yeah.
And then I also want like a little droid, like the Seven Sisters probe droid, because I just love that thing so much.
They're so cute.
Or like a little Lola, because Lola's so cute.
Yeah.
Maybe an astromech.
So we gotta have at least one astromech. Even if they have a bad attitude and don't like to do anything.
A protocol droid could help too with the fact that we're probably going to be going to many different planets and many different cultures. So if we had something like C-3PO that
Mhm.
knows, how many languages does he know? Like 9 million?
I think you eventually get upgraded to that. I want to say 6 to start, but millions of them.
Can we make them our chef droid as well?
But they also could just be like parts of droids. Or like coupled together.
We do have a few mechanics. We can make that happen.
I think like I know we have like a med bay, but we should probably have like a droid med just to take with us, like in case we need something like one of those.
Like an oil bath or something?
We have just the head of a protocol droid.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a body. We keep promising them that we will find body parts for them, but their model is so out of date.
Oh. That is the perfect side quest.
It's like Chopper and his leg.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I kind of like that. So the small probe droid essentially just sort of works into being a pet. I like the idea of them essentially being like either a ship pet or a personal pet.
I love that idea of the ship pet. That we all kind of like treat it like ours, you know.
Yeah.
There's a bit of an idea I've got. I mean, with a load lifter, you wouldn't really need a more proper load master because it would just be distributing things as part of their job. Like, that would be generally what they're programmed for. Instead of just being essentially a forklift that you talk to, the load lifter would be an actual character.
What if it was like a modified other type of droid, a modified combat droid that no longer has combat protocols?
A modified K2 unit.
Right?
Heck no. But anyway, I already have a character with a modified K2 unit friend.
I kind of like the idea of I think everyone in the audition games, except for Erica, had seen the load lifter that came through.
Yes.
Oh, load lifter best friend.
Yes.
Just sort of thinking, now that is surprisingly large. But having it being somewhat modified from a standard load lifter that they actually can do the primary job of load sorting and that sort of stuff.
More discretion than just a basic load lifter.
Norrin gave them a bigger
Memory core?
processor.
Yeah.
Like processor memory core.
I was gonna say, Norrin and Isasela could also add like a vending machine to it so it could distribute whatever. We just fill it with our gear.
It's also got underglow now for some reason. I don't know.
Never deny the underglow on everything.
Also with this particular style of load lifter also, it is related to the little pit droids, the literally dumb droids.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that you tap on the front nose and they just pop up. I'm just sort of thinking that there'd be this big one that does have a vocoder and all that, and having a small cadre of little pit droids that would help them out too.
Oh, it's got minions.
Yeah. A small minion group for the load lifter.
Instead of Roger, Roger, they all say aye, aye. Aye, 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 aye.
You got Big Boss and the Little Mans.
That I like. I love the idea with the protocol droid, with it being sort of a old school droid head. That one I'm definitely digging.
Everyone promising a body, no one knowing how to get one.
Showing him once, maybe this one will work. Nope, it won't work. All right.
They just have a handle like welded onto their head.
Oh
For
no!
easy, and clipped onto the belt of anyone who needs them.
That's awesome.
I may have been watching my partner play too much Ragnarok, okay?
I think it'd be great because if you don't want him to see something, you just turn his head.
Ooh.
You don't see anything. What are you talking about?
You don't want to see this.
Well, that definitely expands some of the ideas for droids, because this is Star Wars. We definitely need to have droids.
Oh, it's a BD. It's either a little probe droid that can fly around. It's a BD.
Ooh.
Yeah. Little raptor
That
droid
also-
running around.
Yeah. Small one that's running around.
I just want it to be little.
You just hear the little clank, the little light clanking as it runs through the halls of the ship.
With this amount of droids, I can definitely see at some point doing an all droid episode.
Oops,
Or
all
two.
droids.
I've got this agenda that I just keep bouncing around on, which, to be fair, is how I treat agendas. Rules of order? Ha. That actually does somewhat raise a question. Are the shipboard NPCs going to be entirely droid, or is there any type of organic?
I figured the chef quartermaster would probably be a humanoid of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that I can definitely do.
Question: were they provided, or did one of us find them? 'Cause that kind of changes who this person is.
That's true.
There's definitely that.
It's a Gand.
Okay, that is one that I'm going to veto, just on account of it is so hard to get into Gand speak, and since I'm going to be the one doing it. Like, I love Gand. They are really fun, but getting into...
They're very specific, yeah.
Yeah. Getting into third person is not the easiest. Though they would be a weird air breather, so... As opposed to having to have the methane mix.
I can't think of the species now. Jedi Master Plo Koon. If you're looking for a weird air breather.
A Keldor.
Keldor!
Yeah, Plo Koon.
What did I say?
That's who I was thinking of too.
Yeah.
I was sitting here trying to think, like, what's Plo Koon's race? I can't remember.
I can't think of the species now. I had a player who played as a bug race, and they don't have, like, traditional faces, but they can still speak because they, like, vibrate weird things. But they have to have gas to breathe. I can't think of what they're called now.
He could be a clone.
That's true. An old clone.
I was going to go with my normal suggestion, which would be Herglick, but that's what I always suggest.
I was gonna, if they weren't hired by us and they just came, like, they're just on the ship, or just another NPC from ISR. I got the name right? Oh, Intersect.
Yeah.
ISR. See,
Yeah,
I'm remembering
ISR.
that.
Yep.
They could be a Twi'lek, because I don't think any of us speak Leku, and that means they can have a secret language none of us know.
That's what you think.
Dun dun dun. You minored in Twi'lek in college.
What if there was two chefs and they just bicker with each other?
That would be kind of funny.
But that would be you talking to yourself.
Still sounds funny.
It wouldn't have to be.
I do like the idea of the NPCs bickering at each other. We'll do the quartermaster / chef as a Twi'lek. This is a relatively large ship, especially once you start getting into it transporting stuff and like having, even if we have...
There's got to be some engineers and like cleaning crew.
A engineer that is just more... They would answer to the four of you on account of NPC should...
I'm assuming Norin would probably take control of
Yeah.
that department. You gotta have like a Red Dwarf style cleaning crew too. Someone who's just a janitor that walks around. Scruffy believes in this crew.
Then that makes me think of Resistance, where you've got that one character with the floor waxer. that is all they do is they just walk around with a floor waxer.
Sounds like being in the Navy. Either a swab or a floor waxer.
With Resistance, eventually, to show how evil the First Order was, they confiscated the floor waxer.
No!
How dare.
They're only hurting themselves.
So we've got possible NPCs, a clone and a Twi'lek for chef and quartermaster / sous chef. A mechanic of some variety. I kind of want a Shadrafan or an Ugnaught.
Oh.
Ugnaughts are fun.
Now, would they be like the droid mechs? Or just basic, like, repair techs for the ship?
We don't really need a mechanic with...
Well, I mean, like, Norin can't do all the mechanic work for a ship this big.
That's where Issa comes in.
Yeah.
Right, but I mean, like, when we're off doing things, somebody's gotta be able to keep everything going and do regular, like, maintenance stuff. Because, I mean, you're not gonna go and do the daily for every piece of equipment on the ship. There's gonna be someone who does that.
And if whatever we're going for is, like, some sort of, like, chemical spill or a thing like that,
Ooh,
some unknown disease going through, that's when you want Norin, who will reluctantly leave the ship.
So we need, like, someone who runs, like, the communications operations room, who basically, like, knows, Well, I guess that's probably the protocol droid, huh?
To a point, yeah.
Someone who can like prepare mission data, or at least put data on where we're going, like the locale or something.
Idea that just gave me.
Hmm.
So, you know how we keep mentioning Mission Impossible, like kind of the inspiration is? What if the protocol droid was kind of like our sunglasses?
Yes. I really do like the idea. It's like you slip in a tape or some variety, the droid gets all the information and will do the briefing and all that sort of stuff. But as soon as that's done, it's something,
Smokes.
yeah, like not necessarily Mission Impossible style of this will explode in 5 seconds or what
Right.
have you, but
Oh my gosh, that's why this droid is so old. It runs on magnetic, like regular magnetic media.
yeah.
So then it
So-
just
Memory
like,
wipe in
yeah.
2, 1.
You see a light come out of its mouth or wherever you put the data disk, and it just completely wipes it, which causes the protocol droid to be a little off sometimes.
Oh, hello, users. How can I help you today?
Oh, I love that.
That's the only reason why we're keeping it, because we're using really old technology, so less people can intercept and translate it how they need to for modern digital stuff. Oh,
I love that. Like,
I do.
that's so much better than my take on it, which was just it eating the tape.
I don't know. That's pretty good too.
I mean, nothing's stopping it from doing that.
It just
still.
starts chewing. Are its eyes projectors? Do we have like a 2D projector coming out of it? Oh, if it's got binary, its eyes, it could do.
Yeah, it could do 3D off of the eyes. That would totally work. Yeah, I love this.
Bait coming the best NPC.
Right?
Okay, so the benefactor we're just leaving is this shadowy person for now, with the general concept of they're going to be a somewhat rebellion affiliated, we figure. So we've got the protocol droid that is giving out the missions via data tape that it gets. We do have at least a Chatterfan on the cleaning crew. We've got the load lifter that can do muscle type stuff if needed, though they are somewhat on the slow side. Like, they lumber as opposed to be quick. They have a couple of the little pit droids. Norn's going to be the gadget maker. We've got a Twi'lek or clone for the chef/quartermaster. I think we've got a decent crew for a ship that large.
All right, now we need the Judas.
I mean, I figure we're going to come up with someone like that in the first arc.
Yeah. Or it's a lifter.
Like, one of the things that I'm liking with this is we do have enough characters for in the background where we can pull from, but it's not overwhelming. I have a lot of experience with player groups adopting NPCs,
Yeah.
and I am very okay with that. So if we sort of understaff the Wayfarer, which is, like, honestly, I think we're like about right staffed with it at the moment.
Mhm.
If we were to pull in NPCs that y'all like as we encounter them, that can work.
Cool. That's how we got the Chandra fan.
Okay, in all seriousness, I'm kind of thinking we stop now. It is a quote-unquote shorter episode. When we're actually role-playing, us filling up the time is never going to be hard. Doing this sort of stuff is always a bit harder. And at least this time, I am putting in the right name for the ship because
Ooh, speaking of names for the ship. Captain, what's the name of the ship?
I must not call it the Codfather. I must not call it the Codfather.
Why not? That's an amazing name.
Oh, it's either the Codfather or the Space Codfather. My girl's from Kadari. She's very direct with her naming.
Codfather seems to work better.
I like Codfather.
Then we're flying into the SS Codfather. Oh wait, they don't do SS here. We're flying into Codfather.
Yeah.
And if it ever gets blown up, we have the Codfather 2 and the Codfather 3.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find show updates on Twitter at The Hydian Way, and you can find me, Ben, on Twitter at Deuterium Ice.
And I'm Joy, and you can find me on the Other Place podcast, Season 2 as Talana, and live on Twitch TV at Joyfully Me Too. I play a variety of games.
I'm Erica, and you can find me on a multitude of podcasts such as Path of the Storm, Dice for Brains, The Dicey Cantina, and Nightcast creative projects like Coruscant Nights and Tales from the Grey Library. Or you can find me on social media as either Tiz the Good Witch or Erica Goodwitch.
You can find me, Zach, at talesoftheouterrim.com or at our link tree, linktr.ee/Tales of the Outer Rim. You can also hear me guest GMing on Tales of the Grey Library.
Once again, I'm Henry Madeline Allen. You can find me everywhere as Sim Disorder with a Y, not an I.
And we are all at thehydianway.com, where you can find previous episodes.
You can find more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcast Plus. You can help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
You can holocom us at heroes@thehydianway.com.
If you like what we do and want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/thehydianway.
Or you could send a team some calf at kofi.com/thehydianway.